Yeah, are you going to get in on this deal, Chris? Are you
I'm not eligible. I'm not eligible, unfortunately.
No, neither am I. I have my Chase Sapphire Reserve, and you're going to pry that out of my cold, dead hands. I'm not getting rid of that one.
If you're near Chase Sapphire Lounge, that's a great card to have. Hey, I'm Chris.
And I'm Katie.
And this is the Upgraded Points Podcast.
Today we're talking about saving on family travel, including Disney. Chris flew an airline you probably have never heard before. I had an actually good experience with customer service, and we're going to answer some of your questions. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave a comment. That really helps us as a new show. And if you have questions for the show, you can email us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com. Okay, Chris. So you had an interesting experience on an airline that a lot of people probably have never heard about. What happened?
Yeah, so I just flew Air Canada Rouge, and I'd seen the name before, but it'd never really come up in my flight searches. But Air Canada Rouge is the low-cost carrier of Air Canada. And so when we were at our Level Up Travel meetup in Orlando, I was originally supposed to fly from Orlando to New York, and then from New York a separate ticket to Burlington, Vermont. And after we left, my wife and two kids, after we left the meetup, I got an email from Delta saying that our 7 a.m. flight was already delayed.
It's the worst.
I know. And what made it even worse is because I was being super savvy and I booked 2 separate tickets, trying to maximize all my miles. So I knew that delay was going to force a misconnect. And to get all the way to Vermont, there's pretty much 1 flight per day on Delta. And since I'd booked separately, Delta really couldn't help me out. And I stayed up till like 2 or 3 in the morning trying to figure it out. But I just kind of gave up and I said, all right, fine, let's cancel that ticket. I'll cancel my other flight and then we'll just deal with it tomorrow. So we woke up in the morning and I started searching for flights, and there was really no way for us to get to Burlington that same day. I was looking at New York or Boston, and finally found Montreal. And for some reason, Montreal just had never been on our radar when we're flying up to Vermont. But it turned out to be a great option because we flew nonstop from Orlando to Montreal on Air Canada Rouge. Super simple flight. I don't think we even got any snacks or anything on a 3-hour flight. But it was $100 nonstop, whereas I couldn't get anything close to that into Boston, and definitely not into Vermont.
Is that one where they charge you for carry-on bags and every little thing that you ask for?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we had some luggage with us, so we paid, we put it all on one person's ticket. We paid for the one checked bag, and we had a couple carry-ons and personal items, but even still, it was $100. Came out to $150 with all said and done. And then we ended up just staying an extra day in Orlando. We got to check out the JW Bonnet Creek, which was awesome because I had some Marriott Bonvoy points. I got to cancel my other flight. So even though there was a hiccup, but having these points and miles, flights and hotel bookings were nice because I canceled that other flight without penalty. I booked a really nice hotel for me and my family to relax at while we waited one more day until the next flight. And then we actually went and had lunch in Montreal when we landed before driving down to Vermont. So overall, it was just a really nice experience.
That's awesome. I love it. Flight disruptions and cancellations happen all the time. You just have to kind of accept it. But I love it when everything works out in the end. And that's always a good feeling. I actually had something sort of kind of similar happen. I am flying this summer from Amsterdam to New York on KLM business class, but I booked through. Nice. I want one of those little Delft houses. The whole reason I'm flying KLM.
Smart.
So, anyways, we are flying, and I booked through Virgin Atlantic. Got a great deal. I got an email a couple weeks ago saying your flight has changed. It had changed over 7 hours.
Oh no!
So it put me landing in JFK after my flight that was booked separately from JFK to Columbus. And that was the last flight out of JFK that day. So this new time would put me in JFK, where I'd have to not only book a new Delta flight home to Columbus, but it had to be the next day, which meant I had to spend the night at JFK, which is not ideal. There's a really hard airport to spend the night at, in an instance like this when it's not
Yeah,
planned. It's just it's a pain in the butt.
it's true.
So I called Virgin and they kind of said, well, all the flights are sold out. Too bad. I hung up and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So I looked and I checked, and the flight that I wanted was not sold out. So before I called Virgin back, I called KLM. I kind of knew they were going to tell me they couldn't do anything because I booked through Virgin, but I figured, why not? And of course, I called them. They said, well, we can't do anything. You have to talk to Virgin. So I called Virgin back, and I had gotten a tip from from someone who had said when you're calling Virgin to ask for the partner desk, that you get better customer service through the partner desk. So I asked for the partner desk, and I don't think I ended up at the partner desk actually because I had hit press two for upper class customer service. So I hit that,
Hmm.
even though I'm not flying upper class on Virgin. It still worked out, and the person I talked to said, "I can help you, no problem." Explain the situation. They were so understanding,
Oh,
and
nice.
they went above and beyond. They called KLM for me and got back on the phone, was always checking in saying, "I'm still on hold with KLM." Came back, said, "Well, KLM said no. They're giving us problems, but I'm hounding them. Don't worry, I'm gonna get this done
Okay.
for you." I was on the phone for it was probably 45 minutes, and most
Yikes.
of that was this person on the phone with KLM. And in the end, they came back and said, "We got it done. You should have an email confirmation in a couple minutes." And I got on the flight that I wanted, that I can keep my same Delta flight home. I can get home the same day. And it was just so nice. I mean, it took a while, but it was so wonderful to actually have a good customer service experience and have my problem fixed. And it was a great experience.
That is awesome.
So
And
yeah, 2 thumbs up for Virgin Atlantic.
the few times I've had to call Virgin Atlantic, I've had great luck. They just seem so friendly and kind, and obviously the accent helps.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I love it, and it was a great experience all around. So
Nice.
So let's move on. Chris, you were just in Walt Disney World in support of our recent giveaway, and
Hmm.
congrats to our winner, Lynn from New York, who won a trip for her and her family. Tell us all about it, Chris. It sounds super cool.
Yeah, this is a giveaway we did with Walt Disney World, and the grand prize winner got a trip for them and three guests to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Came
Nice.
with round trip flights, transportation, hotel, park tickets, gift cards. It was just a really awesome giveaway. So if you don't want to miss the next giveaway, be sure to sign up for our newsletter and just follow Upgraded Points on all social media, because that is where Lynn found it. We also gave away 10 $50 gift cards to Disney World. So even if you didn't get a
Yeah.
grand prize, there's still a bunch of first prize winners. So it was a really good promotion. So, in support of the giveaway, I was actually in Orlando recently, and I got to sit down with some members of planDisney. And these people are absolute experts when it comes to saving on a Walt Disney World trip. Did a full interview with them. You can watch that on our YouTube channel. But let's take a quick 5-minute look at a couple of questions that I know Disney superfans are going to love. I'm here at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Today I'm joined by Christine and Matt from planDisney. Do you guys want to give us a little overview of what you do?
Absolutely. So we are planDisney panelists, and what that means is we are real guests and we answer other guests' questions. So they can come visit us on planDisney.com and really ask us anything about planning.
The big questions like how do I get started planning vacation, down to the nitty-gritty details. Our group of panelists, somebody probably has an answer.
Awesome. All right, so a first-time visitor wants to come to Walt Disney World. They get online and they start searching, and it's overwhelming. What do you suggest they do? Obviously, go to planDisney.com.
Yeah, that's a good start.
All right. So, what makes planDisney.com so special? What is unique about your platform?
So what's really unique about us is we are, again, these are coming from our experiences, and we actually have specialties. So where there's Walt Disney, there's Walt Disney World, there's Disneyland, there's cruise line. So you can get as broad as where do I start planning my vacation to the nitty gritty of what is the mattress in the Grand Floridian.
So you guys cover everything.
Yep.
Wow. So Walt Disney World, obviously, that's a big thing thing that people are searching for, but Disneyland and even the cruises. So do you guys know what kind of mattresses are on the cruise ships?
Our Disney
Someone does.
Cruise Line specialist might.
I could find someone to ask. Yep.
Exactly.
All right, so there you guys can really answer any question that someone might have.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
great. So someone's planning their trip to Walt Disney World. What's one of the biggest mistakes that you see?
I think that sometimes people can get a little wrapped up and overplan sometimes. You know, it's great to be able, I'm a planner, like my family, it's almost a hobby for us. And so we enjoy that part of the vacation planning process, but I think that sometimes it's good to leave room for that spontaneity and not to create too much pressure. So it's, you know, that's why I think one of the things we try and do with planDisney is answer those questions, reassure people, you know, take the time, give them the resources and the information so they can really create a vacation that fits their interests and what they want to do, and not try and, you know, do everything in a single vacation.
And that is so true. There is so much to do for everyone. So you will never fit it all in one vacation or in one day. I'm a local and we come probably about, you know, I would say at least once a month, and there are still new things every time we visit. So you can't do it all, even if you try.
Yeah, I'm a big over planner as well, and we try to plan those off days. So when you're not at the park, try to relax. But then it's tough because then sometimes I want to just hop on the monorail and go get something to eat at the Polynesian or all these things because Disney has so much stuff to do. But it's important to try and not do it all.
Yep.
All right, so what are your favorite tools or resources when you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World?
I always tell people that they should be downloading the My Disney Experience app because, I mean, that's the way you're going to manage, you know, most of the details of your trip. But it's also great as you're leading up to your trip, you know, take a look at the map, check out what the wait times are for different attractions. And for people that aren't as familiar with Walt Disney World, like you start to get a sense of the flow of the different parks and an overview of all the offerings. So that's usually, you know, a first step is to get that on your phone.
Definitely, and take a look at the website and look at that special offers page. There are a lot of special offers and they're forever changing. So it's important that you go ahead, you see what's there and see if there's something that can fit for you.
That's a good point. So you're a local, so you get the Florida resident discount. So for our readers and followers that are in Florida, that's a pretty good deal, right? What can you tell us a little bit about those?
So right now, if you went to the special offers page, you will see some Florida resident discounts as well as some annual pass discounts there.
Nice. And those can save some good money for.
Absolutely.
Matt doesn't get those as.
No, you know, there's usually something, either tickets or the resort hotels based things that we can find through the website. I just became an annual pass holder for the first time, so I get to enjoy that. Yeah, big life moment. So there's usually something like Christine was saying on that special offers page. If you know, take a look at that as you're planning.
You can watch the full interview on the Upgraded Points YouTube channel. For now, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to show you how you can book a trip to Disney or anywhere else in the world with just one credit card sign-up bonus.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Let's keep talking about saving money on family vacations. And before we get to my favorite way to save money, which may or may not involve 100,000 points.
Ooh.
Chris, I have one question for you. Since you are our resident Disney expert at Upgraded Points, what would be a tip that you can give for families to save on a Disney vacation?
I really think taking advantage of the All-Star properties at Disney World is a great option. For those not familiar, All-Star is the budget-friendly hotels at Disney World. So you can stay on property for around $100 a night. These rooms sleep 4 or 5 people. So it's a really great way to get inside that Disney bubble. And remember, when you're inside Disney, you don't pay for parking. So you could drive to the hotel, you could drive to the parks if you want, but there's also tons of Disney transportation. You get you get benefits to the park and go in early. And then, you know, there's a lot of more reasonably priced foods at these all-star resorts. So I think if you're a family that wants to go and experience Disney without those eye-watering prices, staying at an all-star resort is a great option.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a good way to visit Disney. It's nice because you think Disney's always super, super expensive, so it's nice that there are some budget options.
It's true.
Okay, Chris, we have to talk about something, and I think you know it's coming.
Yes.
For saving on family travel, or really any travel,
Hmm.
Chase points are amazing, and there is a credit card out right now at the time of recording, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, with a huge 100,000 point welcome bonus.
Best ever.
It can be changed or taken away by the lovely folks at Chase at any point. So depending on when you're listening to this, make sure you're checking to see what the most up-to-date bonus is. But for right now, it is 100,000 points, which at a minimum is worth $1,250. And that's if you don't want to think about the best way to maximize those points. You are still going to get $1,250 in value out of those points. The way to do that, the easiest way is to book through the Chase portal. And this is for people who don't want to get into transfer partners or anything a little bit more complicated. You can take those Chase points, book through the Chase travel portal, and you can book airlines, hotels, car rentals, cruises, activities, even. And you will get 1.25 cents per point in value no matter what you book. And it's just a super easy way that you can earn that one welcome bonus, get 100,000 points, get over $1,200 worth of value.
Hmm.
Just really, really easy. And I like that for families and for people who don't want to dive in deep like we are.
Right. And
Um,
this card only has a $95 annual fee, right? Nothing crazy.
yeah. It's a great beginner card. It was my first points and miles card. I think it's a first points and miles card for a lot of people. But even if you've been playing the game for a while and you don't have this card, it's a really solid option. And that kind of bonus on a card that's $95 a year is just incredible.
Absolutely. All right. So for those of who want to get a little more value, more than $1,250, which is incredible, what do you recommend people do?
So there are a lot of options, but my favorite is not a secret. And I think it's actually a favorite way to use Chase points for a lot of people, and that is transferring them to Hyatt. And that is just because Hyatt still has an award chart, which means there are some amazing sweet spots. You can get incredible value out of those points. And it's a super easy program to use. I really, really like transferring my Chase points to Hyatt. I would say 98% of my Chase points go to Hyatt these days. Um, so, to give you an idea of what you could do with those points, if you stick to a category one hotel, and that's probably a lot of like Hyatt places, but some other brands as well, you will find on as a category one. These rooms are available. Standard nights are 5,000 points per night. Off peak, if you can find it, 3,500 points per night.
That's
So
so
that
good.
means at that standard rate, you can book 20 nights at a category one hotel with this bonus.
You got a month of rent worth for $95.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you might be thinking, okay, but that's going to be the Hyatt place on the side of the road in Sheboygan or whatever. Yeah, there are some of those, but there are some really nice category one hotels. There is a Hyatt place in Los Cabos. So you can go plan a Mexican vacation for almost 3 weeks, or 3 weeks if you can get some off peak nights too, for one credit card sign up bonus. I mean, that's
So
that's
cool.
incredible.
I was gonna say there's we just had one of our writers just stayed at the Caption in Osaka, and I believe that's what she paid. I think it was Carrie. She paid 3,500 points a night in Japan.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Um, and if you want to try out some higher end hotels, let's look at category four. And that is still really reasonably priced options. These are 15,000 points per night for standard availability. And you could get 6 nights at any category four standard availability for this one sign up bonus. Couple more if you can get them for the off peak price. And there's some really nice properties in that category. The Onda Savannah, which I stayed at a couple years ago, it's right in downtown Savannah, really cute hotel, walking distance to everything you'd want to see in Savannah. That's a great option. The Hyatt Regency in Mexico City, which is a really hot destination right now. I flew through there a couple weeks ago, but I was not able to check it out, but it is on my list. The Hyatt Regency at Seattle, the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress in Florida,
I've
if
been
you want
there.
to just do a nice tropical vacation with the family. Those are all category fours. 6 nights at standard pricing with one credit card sign up bonus. I mean, you can't beat that.
No, you can't, and that's why everyone in the points and miles world is so pumped. We love this card year round.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen an offer like this in a couple of years. So this is
Yeah.
just really nice. And just to add on to another reason why Hyatt is such a popular transfer option is that when you book an award night with Hyatt, you don't pay resort fees either. So you can literally stay at one of these awesome hotels for $0 out of pocket.
Yeah, it's an amazing option, and that's why most of my Chase points go to Hyatt. Hyatt for the win, and Chase points for the win.
I mean, you don't have to argue with me. Speaking of, we have a couple questions from readers and listeners. Let me ask you the first question, Katie.
Sure.
This one comes from Rosalia. She is in our Level Up Facebook group, and this is one we've been getting a lot of, as you can imagine. She says, I currently have the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. Can I apply for a new one to get the 100,000 point offer?
That's a great and really timely question, and the answer is yes and no. Let me be a little more clear.
Please.
So, yes, there are three main things that you want to think about when you're trying to figure out if you are eligible for a Chase Sapphire Preferred welcome bonus. The first one is you cannot have earned a welcome bonus on the Sapphire card. So that's the Sapphire Preferred or the Sapphire Reserve, which is the higher priced option, in the previous 48 months. So if you got your Sapphire Preferred and got a welcome bonus on it 3 years ago, you're not eligible. If you got it 4.5, 5 years ago, then you may be eligible. So that's the first thing you want to think of. The second one you want to think of is your Chase 524 status. And this is sort of an unwritten rule that I'm sure if you've looked into anything with points and miles, you've heard of. And it simply means that if you have applied for 5 or more credit cards in the last 24 months, and that is from any bank, not just Chase, but it does not include most business cards, then you are probably not going to get approved for a card. There are a few outlier examples here and there, but generally, to apply successfully for a Chase card, you need to have only applied for 4 or fewer credit cards in the last 24 months. If both of those are good, then you need to look at, do you currently have a Chase Sapphire card? And this person does have a Sapphire card, so they would not be eligible. And this, again, is if you have the Sapphire Preferred or the Sapphire Reserve. Now, there are some ways around that. So if you have not gotten that welcome bonus in the last 24 months and you are under 524, if you currently have the Sapphire Reserve or the Sapphire Preferred, you can downgrade that to the no-fee Freedom Unlimited or Freedom Flex card.
Mm-hmm.
Once that's downgraded, wait about a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then you would be eligible to apply again for the Chase Sapphire Preferred.
Again, if that's the one that she had not received a bonus in the past 48 months, correct?
Correct.
Awesome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you going to get in on this deal, Chris? Are you
I'm not eligible. I'm not eligible, unfortunately.
No, neither am I. I have my Chase Sapphire Reserve, and you're going to pry that out of my cold, dead hands. I am not getting rid of that one.
If you're near Chase Sapphire Lounge, that's a great card to have.
I love it. I'm not getting rid of it. So my husband actually he applied for his card just under 48 months. So I'm trying to figure out when we got the bonus. And hopefully if this is around still in a couple months, I'm going to try to get it for him. But that's a TBD.
Another reason to get your spending done early on these types of cards so that bonus comes earlier and you can start the clock again.
Yeah. So I need to figure that out. I should have written it down, but oh well. So I hope that answered your question. Let us move on to another question. And Chris, this one is for you. This is from Kirk from the Level Up Travel Facebook group. And he asks, I have a noon flight from New York City to Tokyo that I need to reposition to. Do I risk a morning flight from Atlanta to New York to save on hotel? Now, I know what I would say. I want to see what you're going to say.
So I've actually done this before, and I repositioned the day before. So, I just don't think it'd be worth it to miss a flight to Japan, especially if and he didn't mention if it's in business class. But I mean, if you're flying to New York and you get any kind of weather, your flight gets delayed going in, I mean, that you're just setting yourself up for trouble there. So personally, I would not. when my wife and I repositioned there, we flew in the day before and we stayed in Midtown and had a nice little day in New York before flying to Tokyo. It was awesome. If you don't want to do that, you could fly up, the night before. And as you said earlier, Katie, JFK is not the best option for airport hotels, but there is a Hyatt there. It's I think the Resorts World Casino, so you could go there and test your luck before you want to head over to Tokyo. But yeah, my suggestion would be to get there early. I wouldn't risk that missing my flight to Japan.
I 100% agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. And in that instance, I do not mind spending the night in New York. And that's what I have done multiple times. I've actually stayed in that Regency, the Hyatt Regency Resorts World, a couple times. It's a really nice hotel.
Looks nice.
Takes, 15 minutes to get to, and you've got a $45, $50 Uber ride. It's kind of ridiculous. But in that situation, 100% worth it. I would not risk it either.
Cool.
Cool. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps out us as a new show. And if you have questions or comments for the show, you can reach us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com. We'll see you next week.